Hello, and welcome to the deeper dive to the classroom curriculum found within the transition block. The transition block is the final block in the sequence of Common Core 3.0 and closes up the training experience for new workers. This training does incorporate many of the previous content in the practice blocks, including teaming, collaboration, and transparency, trauma-informed practice, engagement, critical thinking, structured decision-making, time and stress management, case planning, and managing the plans. As you may know, the goal of Common Core 3.0 is that new workers will go through core sequentially because each block builds on knowledge and skills presented and practiced in the previous blocks. The transition block content focuses on permanency, trauma-informed practice, and teaming. This includes transitions to permanency, development of aftercare plans in a team setting, and bias in permanency practices. The transition block has two e-learning modules, case closure and aftercare plans, and after 18, a one-day skills-based classroom training called Transition Practice, a field activity called Collaborative Assessment, Planning, and Support focused on transition case plan updates, and it closes with a 200-level knowledge and skills reinforcement classroom lab managing transitions. Transition Practice is a one-day classroom module, and it is preceded by two required e-learning modules, case closure and aftercare plans for all transitioning cases, and after 18. The e-learnings introduce key knowledge components used in the class and must be completed prior to attending this classroom module. This classroom day focuses on planning transitions with families, minimizing trauma in placement changes, transitioning to permanency, case management during transitions, and managing transitions with teams. It is essential prior to proceeding with this tutorial that you have reviewed in detail the trainer guide and that you have a printed copy to walk through as we proceed. Tips for training this curriculum can be found on page 7 of the trainer guide. Common Core curriculum and training for new child welfare workers in California is designed to be generalizable across the state, cover basic child welfare knowledge and skills, and is important for all child welfare services positions within an agency. To adequately prepare for this training, it is required that you preview the case closure and aftercare plans e-learning and the after 18 e-learning. It is recommended that you are very familiar with the Introduction to Trauma-Informed Practice e-learning as well as the classroom day, and it is strongly suggested that you orient yourself to all of the content and curriculum found in the foundation block, engagement block, assessment block, case planning and service delivery block, and monitoring and adapting. Please be aware that there are county variations in practices. All counties have their own policies and procedures for transitioning cases. It is important that the trainees are referred to their own supervisor for policy-specific questions related to transitioning cases and the use of aftercare plans with families. Each will also have specific policies pertaining to the development of the 90-day transition plans and should be referred to their supervisor and policy for specifics on county practice. Because this training is an activity-based rather than lecture-based, trainers should have extensive knowledge of Common Core 3.0 content, training modalities, adult learning theory, and coaching. Trainers should be prepared to address a wide variety of trainee questions in the moment relying on Common Core 3.0 informational materials and professional experience. Regional training academies may have additional resources for preparing trainers to present this curriculum. Regional training academies and trainers should be encouraged to co-train this course with the parent partner and or youth partner, having their voice represented in development of aftercare plans and or transition plans can be impactful for trainees. I want to encourage you to role model family-friendly language throughout this training day. We want to model that families involved in child welfare services are not separate from us as social workers, but part of our community. This is the goal of the California Child Welfare Core Practice Model and reflects the behaviors we want to see demonstrated in social workers' work with families. If you need more information on the California Child Welfare Core Practice Model, please visit the CalSWEC website. The agenda for the training day can be found on page 9. This is the same agenda that is included in the trainee guide. Learning objectives can be found on page 10. Please review and familiarize yourself with each one of the knowledge, skills, and values learning objectives. On page 11, there you will find a lesson plan. Please use this as the roadmap to help guide you through the training day. It provides timing, methodology, and learning objectives covered in each segment. The training day begins with segment 1, welcome and introductions. You will introduce yourself to the group. Remember that this cohort has already participated in much, if not all, of the e-learning and classroom trainings from the foundation, engagement, assessment, case planning and service delivery, and monitoring and adapting blocks. So they have been together for some time. Please spend some time reviewing the agenda and learning objectives specific to this training day, and go through the group agreements as outlined in the trainer's guide. In this segment, you will ask trainees to participate in a guided imagery. The purpose of this visualization is to help set the impact of involvement in child welfare and the value of transitioning families, young adults to informal support services and support. You will transition out of this segment with a video called From Place to Place. You will ask trainees to view this video from the lens of transition points throughout the life of a case, where the use of strategies such as engagement, teaming, and trauma-informed practices could have improved outcomes for young adults in the video. There will be a facilitated discussion about transitions and key points after the video. Be prepared to chart the discussion. Segment 2, Transitions and Trauma-Informed Practice. There are 3 activities in this segment. To prepare for this segment, prepare the following headings on chart paper with the identified transition points: hotline to community-based services, hotline to emergency response to close, emergency response to family maintenance, voluntary, emergency response to court dependency case, court dependency to family maintenance, family reunification, family maintenance to case closure, family reunification to adoption, reunification to guardianship, reunification to a long-term permanency plan, long-term care for non-minor dependent, long-term foster care to emancipation, and long-term care to case closure. This list is listed and included in your trainer's guide. Activity 2A, Transitions for Children, Youth, Families, and Social Workers. During this activity, the trainer will discuss the different transition points in the life of child welfare services. The goal of this activity is to demonstrate the number of transitions that can occur in the life of a child, youth, young adult, and families that we serve. The number of transitions can impose their own level of trauma on the family. Understanding this is important in creating opportunities to support activities that will help ease the transitions. The key to this activity is to focus on the many transitions that occur in the life of the case. Each one of these transitions can cause an additional disruption for the child, youth, young adult, and families that we serve. We need to be aware of the impact on them and use practices that will lessen the trauma. The trainer will, activity 2B, trauma-informed practice and transitions. The trainer will review content from the classroom training on trauma-informed practice and lecture on the 10-step process to help transition cases and reduce the traumatic impact. Remind the trainees that the foundation block included an e-learning and classroom day focused on trauma-informed practice. Please refer them back to this material. The trainer should also be prepared to summarize the key points of this activity as outlined in the trainer guide. And the trainer should be familiar with the article Termination, 10 Tips to Ending Psychotherapy. These 10 tips have been adapted to meet the needs of transitioning and closing cases in child welfare practice. Please review the article via the link provided in the trainer guide. Activity 2C, emotional responses to transitions. For this activity, the trainee will read 5 vignettes. Each vignette represents a different transition point in a case. The trainees will list the range of emotions as a table group. The trainer will solicit and chart the range of emotions, normalize them, and briefly talk about self-care. Additionally, the trainees have the Time and Stress Management e-learning as a resource as part of the Common Core 3.0 curriculum suite. Segment 3 is focused on Take a Stand activity. To prepare for this activity, please see Take a Stand activity 3A in the appendix of the trainer's guide. Each of the statements should be pre-printed, prepared by the hosting Regional Training Academy on separate 8x11 sheets of paper and placed around the room with the thumbs up template or the thumbs down template on each side of them. You should have available via the Regional Training Academy all of this pre-printed. Place the 6 statements around the room with the thumbs up on the right side of each statement and the thumbs down on the left side of each statement. During this activity, the trainer will conduct a discussion about the different transition points in the life of the child welfare services and the decisions social workers make with the family, the child, and the team. The focus is to have the trainees take a stand on a topic via the statements provided, where the right decision is not necessarily clear and where both options are viable. There is a focus on how we do make these decisions and what tools do we have to help guide the decision points of transition. Please encourage discussions during this segment. Follow the instructions in the trainer's guide to facilitate the activity. Be explicit about the goal of the activity, which is to have trainees focus on the different decision-making points, to see that different decisions can be made, and to utilize the tools and resources Child Welfare Services has available to reduce the difference in outcomes and to ensure fair and equitable treatment for all families. Segment 4 has 4 activities. In this segment, the trainer will facilitate a discussion and activity related to the review of key concepts of the e-learning focused on case closure. Activity 4A is lecture focused on key concepts. For the purpose of this activity is to link the required e-learning to the classroom and reinforce the use of the appropriate structured decision-making tools, the value of teaming and planning with the family. Activity 4B. The trainees will form triads to complete the skills-based activity demonstrating family engagement and the risk and the use of the family risk reassessment in-home services cases structured decision-making tool. You will need to become familiar with the Jefferson-Baxter case scenario that is introduced in the assessment block. So the participants will also be familiar with this family. You can access this scenario by asking your regional training academy to provide, or from the CalSWEC website via the assessment block curriculum, and it's found in the structured decision-making skills-based classroom training. In this as part of this activity, please lift up for the trainees that completion of the structured decision-making tools with the family is important. But more important, that the mechanics of the completing the tools is the process, but more important than the mechanics of completing the tool is the process of ensuring that the family is fully engaged, their voice and choice is clearly heard, underlying issues are addressed, and the goal of the long-lasting behavioral changes that lead to independence from child welfare system is achieved. Trainees will read the vignette and in triads utilize the family risk reassessment for in-home cases, which has been scored. They will use this to have a discussion with the father, Tom Baxter. Each person in the triad will have a turn rotating between acting as the social worker, father, and observer. Activity 4C. This activity provides a practice opportunity for the social worker that completed the risk reassessment in-home tool with the father and comes back to the office to staff the assessment with their supervisor. During the staffing or case consultation, there are biases, assumptions, conclusions, and feelings that come up that can impact the case decisions. Trainees will develop a list of those biases, assumptions, conclusions, and feelings, and the trainer will facilitate a report out. Activity 4D is a role play for completing the aftercare plan. To prepare for this activity, scripts can be pre-printed, cut into individual cards, and laminated. A set of cards would be needed for each table. The scripts are also available in the trainee guide on pages 27 and 28. Please consult with your hosting regional training academy about how the scripts will be prepared. This activity will cover the importance of having an aftercare plan for families as they transition from formal services and supports to informal supports. The trainees will role play the development of an aftercare plan while keeping in mind the characteristics of families that re-enter care and focusing on the characteristics that can be changed. This activity is focused on the Jefferson-Baxter case. However, the same principles of aftercare planning apply to all types of families, including families who reunify, adopt, or have legal guardianship. For adoptive families or those with legal guardianship, the focus of the aftercare plan may be on the child or youth, but it is important that networks of support be established for the parents and caregivers as well. Their plan might entail needing respite care or assistance with transportation after school. Segment 5. Review of After 18 and Transition Planning. This segment has two activities. Activity 5 A is the review of the After 18 e-learning. This is an opportunity to connect the required e-learning to the classroom by providing a facilitated review. Activity 4B, 90-day transition and aftercare plan. To prepare for this activity, scripts can be pre-printed, cut into individual cards, and laminated. A set of cards would need to be available for each table. The scripts are also available in the trainee guide. Consult with your hosting regional training academy about how the scripts will be prepared. It is expected that you review and are familiar with the following ACLs: ACL 10-45, ACL 11-61, ACL 11-69, ACL 12-49, and ACL 13-91. Utilize the link found in your trainer's guide to review and prepare. As the trainer, you will review the importance of having an aftercare plan for young adults as they transition from being a young adult from formal supports and services to informal supports. The trainees will be role-playing the development of an aftercare plan. The role-play has 4 roles: the youth, the social worker, a foster parent, and a tribal social worker. Have the trainees read the vignette for their particular role assignments. The goal is to practice working with youth or young adults who have decided to leave foster care to construct an aftercare plan to help youth or young adults be prepared. Following the role play, the trainer will facilitate a report out, making sure that the trainer's notes are lifted up for the trainees throughout the discussion. Segment 6, Voices for Youth and Closure. To close out this training, the trainer will play the video Voices for Youth Supporting Adolescents in Foster Care and have the trainees share a word from the video that impacted them the most. Then you will close the training day by handing out the participant satisfaction surveys via the process established by the hosting Regional Training Academy. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best of luck. For more information on Common Core 3.0 trainings, please contact your Regional Training Academy or visit the CalSWEC website. Thank you.